Moving on to the comeback, technically, of the weekend, Leicester versus Brentford. Now, I was very happy with my double Leicester goalie choice in fantasy when they went 2-0 up. How that went to pot. Jordan, what did you make of sort of the Leicester-Brentford game? Sort of most goals, quite a lot of goals the weekend.
Yeah, it wasn't televised, so I've not actually had a chance to properly review the highlights. But I was shocked. I made it clear my prediction was actually Brentford nicking a win. I was surprised. I was surprised when Leicester were 2-0 up that it was that easy. And lo and behold, they then bottled it. So yeah, not surprising there. We gave the reasons last week why Leicester are going to struggle. I do stand by that. Until they've got clarity on Fofana and Maddison or bring players in, I think there's going to be a few kind of poor weeks from them. And Arsenal away next week, I think Arsenal will probably win that fairly easily.
Reece?
Yeah, I mean, fair play to Brentford. I like their attitude. They don't know when they're beat. They're not afraid to go to Anfield and, give it a go. They're not afraid to go to Stamford Bridge, give it a go. Whereas so many teams, including big clubs, will back off. They've gone for it. And they went 2-0 down. And I wasn't mainly surprised that they were losing, but the way they come back so quickly, they've got the spirit that would keep them in this division. I still don't see it, but massive win. But yeah, disappointing for Leicester. But with their current situation where they've got to balance the books, you can't really blame Rodgers too much. It's not all his fault. Leicester have got a lot of things to sort out right now. I think they've got the most registered players in the league. Their wage bill is a joke, really. It's very high. And because of that, they can't shift their players. So it's all good making £80 million on Fofana, but what about the rest of the 24 players you've got? What are they all worth together? If you include Maddison, probably only the 50 million. So they've got a lot they need to sort out. A lot of people praise their project, but now it's really showing how it was going to slow down eventually. So yeah, they need to get themselves down and get going again. But yeah, it's quite a concern for them.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you on the sort of project side of things. Everyone's like going, well, they got 80 for Maguire, and not like other sales. They're going to get a lot of money. They could get a lot of money for maybe Fofana as well. In terms of the performance, sort of like, I feel Leicester probably just switched off. They went 2-0 up and they probably thought, we've won this. And like you say, Brentford don't give up.
Poor mentality from Leicester there, I think.
Yeah. It's because they did it against Spurs last season where they conceded, 2 94th and 96th minute goals. It's something that they switch off. They need to sort of massively improve on. But fair play to Brentford for doing that. Like, not every team will manage to do it. Now going on to another, I don't know if you can call it a shock anymore. Brighton beating United 2-1. There's nothing better than hearing that result when I was in the stadium at West Ham. Jordan, do you want to start us off with United? What is going on at United?
Look, I said, I said it. I've made my feelings clear about Man United. It's another hype train. New manager, weak signings. This isn't a surprise anymore. This isn't a shock. Them losing at home was not surprising remotely. So many times last season, they got outplayed at home by sort of average to good opposition. Brighton, we know are a good side. Potter, I mean, you've lost your best two players arguably, and you're going to beat United on the opening day. Silly. So fair play to Potter. As for United, again, to reiterate what I've said, they're broken. They're absolutely broken. And we, Ten Hag's a good manager, but he how many good managers have walked through the door since Sir Alex Ferguson and not delivered? There's something broken about this squad, and I don't know what it is, but until the players and the squad and the rebuild really begins, they're not going to improve. It doesn't matter who's the manager. You know, you've got Ronaldo wanting out. You know, you've got a 4'6" centre back. You know, you know, they've got, you know, Christian Eriksen playing up front. You know, Eriksen, I think we've all said he's quality, he's got experience, but he is a little bit past it, and he's absolutely not a false nine, and he's not, you know, he's not Ronaldo up front. So you look at the squad, you look at the players, regardless of the new era, regardless of pre-season, and the fact they've got a good manager, it's not good enough. And the way they're going, they might just be, you know, they might be battling the bottom half. Who knows? They might even get relegated.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. When the whistle blew, Brighton went straight up there and had a chance. You know, I think it was a strange one because you're right. They started Eriksen as a false nine, which I thought didn't make sense. You know, Fred and McTominay again disappointed. It was very, very, very bang average performance. I think Ten Hag won't be too disappointed because at the end of the day, it doesn't take 5 minutes to work your philosophy and your project. So it's going to take time to implement that. I get it. I think what will disappoint Ten Hag the most is, yes, they scored a goal, but like even the goal they scored wasn't a finish, was it? It wasn't, you know, Rashford
I
drilling
was just
it in.
about to say that.
It wasn't something from like open play. It was like a bundled in goal, you know. And to me, I'd be disappointed because it's like if a goal is a goal, but it wasn't a moment of quality from anyone on that pitch. And that's what would disappoint me the most. I would understand the loss because it's like, okay, I can see where the project's going. I can see where, you know, if at least you could be like, look, we hit the post 3 times, you know, we clearly are better from set pieces. You know, he drilled it into the bottom, you know, it was just poor. It was
Just
shambolic.
watched it back. I've just watched it back, and you're so right. So Dalot is from a corner. Dalot's headed the ball across the box, so it's not even a shot. It's then hit the keeper, hit the back of Dalot's arm, and then the keeper's tried to save it and then pushed it onto the knee of the Brighton defender, who's then kicked it in. So it's not even a shot. It's the worst goal you'll ever see.
That's what would disappoint me. Is I know you want things when you're desperate and you think, okay, I'll take anything, but they didn't look like they were going to do anything else that game, and they can't rely on a poor bit of goalkeeping to scrape them a result. So I think they'll go back to the drawing board and work out what they need to do. But I think they're going to need a striker, which sort of goes on to my question, really. I know a lot of coaches, particularly lower down the chain, talk about the transfer window should be slammed shut before the season starts, which of course they tend to be these managers that when that did happen, they then moaned about it and demanded it be open until the end of the month, you know. But I want to know is, you know, should the transfer window be shut because before the season starts? Because you look at United then, what can they do? They're stuck for a long time. Or do you think let it stay open because someone like Ten Hag could then look at this and go, right, I clearly need to put in this player, I need to put in this player. That gives me a few days to get this right. What do you both think? Jamie, I'll start with you.
The problem of the last time they tried to sort of shut it by the start of the season, because I do believe it should be shut day before you start the season, but you've got to get every league doing the same. That was the problem, because if you sold someone between now and the end of the month and your window's closed, that's the problem. That's where the problem arises. With the sort of Ten Hag sort of example you're giving, United have had all summer to do this business. They knew when Ten Hag was coming in months ago. He can say what players he wanted. It's not rocket science to do a bit of your business early. City signed Alvarez and Haaland before this summer window. Sort of, you can do it before. You don't have to wait till the sort of last minute. It's just the disorganisation at United is dreadful. It just is. It's brilliant for me to see, but it's just awful. And I'm fed up of hearing Neville talking about it. Like, it's every year, same thing. It's bad from top to bottom, and it is. But is anything actually going to change? No, and we're going to hear it next week. Next game they lose, when they play Liverpool in a few weeks' time, Liverpool are probably going to go and beat them 5-0 again, and they're going to go exact same narrative. Glazers need to go. This needs to happen. That needs to happen. Ten Hag it is a mission impossible. But I'm sorry, but why are you starting McFred? Like, McFred, why are they both there? Why are they starting? They're not good enough. McTominay doesn't start centre mid for Scotland. If you're not starting your position for Scotland, you're not good enough for United. You're not good enough for a European club. It just baffles me. Van der Beek I'd be packing my bags, leaving, because we've even got a Dutch coach come in and he still won't start you. Like, what? And you're looking, I'd be watching that every week, being like, how am I not playing? It's just shambolic. With the whole Ronaldo situation, I think Ten Hag it's out of his control in that one. Ronaldo's wants to leave because of last season, really, rather than him. So he's in a difficult situation there, saying he'd want him, but it's not going to work. Now, obviously, Martial was meant to be he started doing well pre-season, but like Roy Keane said, he's not the man. Otherwise, he would have been the man for the past, 3 or 4 years they've had him now. He's not the answer, and so they do need a striker. But they've still not really solved the main issue they had last season, a centre defensive midfielder. So I just don't get what's going on in that club, because they needed signings. They needed to do kind of what Chelsea have done and gone and bought. We've bought 4 players now. They needed that. They need more. They need more, and they've bought in. Obviously, you're being a bit dramatic, a 4'6" defender, but it's just not inspiring at all. Long may it continue, but I'd just be fed up if I was United. There's nothing, but I want to get back, to be honest, to the match. Brighton have sort of just got United's number at the moment. They absolutely battered them at the end of last season, and they've now gone to Old Trafford and gone and picked up a 2-1 win. And like you said, the goal that United scored, dreadful. So it's sort of very sort of inspiring for Brighton to, keep going along with their season, and maybe Maupay will just put the ball in the back of the net. He hasn't for the past few seasons, but they're not signing another striker.
Only Welbeck.
So I don't know. Well, he got Welbeck up front. He started just yesterday, but it's one of them. He's not good enough. They do need a striker, but they've started well, and it can continue for them. Now, coming on to the last game of the weekend, West Ham versus Man City. John, you've slightly touched upon it. You weren't that thrilled with the game. Is there sort of like, are you concerned sort of West Ham just didn't look at it, or City obviously didn't look at it either? Is that kind of, what was your sort of thing there? Why was it like boring, is the way you've put it?
So West Ham had a really good 2 minutes and then just thought, nah, that'll do. Didn't go in, and just thought, no, can't be bothered. You talked about Fulham kind of starting their season next week. I think that's kind of what West Ham are going to do. City were good, but City just, probably had 90% possession, just passed it around sort of defence. And, West Ham didn't put up enough fight or enough press to really worry City. City were just happy to kind of pass it round. I still don't think you were that good. And then you just, similar to the reason I compared it to Chelsea was because we weren't that good. We were slow. Then we just got a penalty. And it was the same with City. You weren't that good. You were slow, passing the ball, a lot of possession. West Ham didn't force you to do anything. And then you just got a penalty, and it was like, right, well, that's it. Similarly kind of boring for me in that respect. Haaland did really well for the pen. and that will just kind of get the monkey off his back. You know, the media going, "Oh, he's a flop," etc. And if he's on pens, obviously to kind of, I guess, stat pad a little bit, he's definitely going to be getting 20, 30 goals this season if he's on pens. And again, going back to the point, the difference is, again, I don't think City were that good in the second half either. It was a bit just kind of pass the ball round the back. Again, you didn't need to do any more. West Ham weren't really doing anything, so you didn't need to really get out of first gear. But again, KDB and Haaland linking up already. And that, I said it earlier, that's the difference. You know, you can kill a game even when you're not playing well, even though West Ham, you probably didn't need to kill the game, but you did anyway. And for me, that's the difference at the minute, you know, between kind of Chelsea and City. Reece, just to go back a step, just to touch on your point about United again, with the transfer window, I think it should be the way it is now. Like, I don't think it's fair for Prem clubs to shut the window and then get ravaged by Barcelona, hijack FC, with their bouncing checks. I don't think that's fair, and I don't think that does any favours to the Prem. But I agree. If you can get your business done early, like City did this year, then do it. And it's, stress-free for everyone.
Yeah, good point. I think bit too critical on City there. I think at the end of the day, that's what makes you champions. You don't have to go and win 4-0. If anything, that leaves you more exposed to the counter attack. They got the first goal. You know, they knew it, created a few more chances, got the second, game over. You know, that's when you know you're a good team, when you know you make it 2-0 and you treat the game as over. They didn't even look under threat at all. You know, I think it was a typical David Moyes start of the season, slow start. Again, so many teams now are under pressure in the second game because it seems that all the teams that got off to a pretty poor start or an average start are all facing each other next weekend. So a lot of teams could be 2 defeats down before, you know, they've even got to the third game, which means they're already playing catch up. But City looked good. And they're not. They didn't even enter, you know, second gear or whatever. So yeah, I think Premier League looks like it's going to be quite a good, easy one for City this year.
I kind of agree with Reece. I think, Jordan, you're being quite harsh on our performance. I think we looked a lot more solid, than the Chelsea game. Like, I'm not saying it was a thrilling game because it wasn't, but the way we kept sort of probing at them is what we do. We'll pass it to the side, wait till the gap arrives, play a ball down the line, 1-2 down the line kind of thing. That's kind of the way we will play. But yes, like you said, with Haaland's run, did very well to get the penalty because I don't think most strikers would have got that just because of that little extra pace he's got. And I think, as your text said, his lanky legs managed to sort of, you know, get there. With his penalty, though, it was sort of like, we don't know who was going to take the penalties to start the season. Everyone was sort of like, oh, I don't know if he should take it because if he misses, the media will be on him like anything. But he's there to score goals. If he's going to be too scared to take a penalty, he's probably not the right man to be this massively hyped striker. With his second goal, he did not look like missing. I thought most people, because when he got it, I was like, right, he's going to take a touch, put it on his left, curl it in. No, didn't need that. Body right, goal. He didn't look like missing, and it was sort of brilliant. Haaland is here. That is what we wanted. That's how we wanted to start the season. But one thing that I wanted to bring back about other players, Rodri was fantastic. And if you didn't have the sort of, you know, the hype around Haaland and him getting 2, obviously, I think he was man of the match because anytime West Ham went on the half counter attack, half attack, Rodri was the guy who won every ball. I don't know how many tackles he made. I think Neville made a sort of saying he's close to the sort of Busquets prime level, and he just is fantastic at mopping everything up at the moment, which he didn't do against Liverpool in the Community Shield. he just lacked that. I think it was just probably that lack of match fitness, but he looked great. And obviously, I think it's now interesting that it's a top of the table clash between City versus Bournemouth. It's going to be a thrilling one. I don't know how that's not, the main game on the telly. Don't need Spurs and Chelsea. Need City Bournemouth. But obviously, I think it's a good start for City because West Ham away can be a difficult place to go. Like we saw it last season, they went 2-0 up in the first half against us. So that's where I feel like the cautious sort of passing it around, keeping the ball, don't let them have any chances was the reason. Because the only chances they got, apart from the first 2 minutes, was due to our errors. Cancelo tried to play a ball across the pitch and messed it up. And then there was a second one where Rice put it over in the second half. So other than that, they just didn't look at it. I think they'll obviously probably do, like I said, with the sort of Fulham one, their season will start now because you do right. Most teams will write off the games against City and Liverpool because we've been so consistent. But I'm very happy with the start of the season. It obviously, like Pep said though, with the Haaland situation was, he's crap like last week, and now he's up there with the best strikers ever. It's kind of one of them sort of scenarios, isn't it, where the media and fans are just so fickle that every week there's just a new storyline about him. I'm sure someone will call him crap because he's missed a shot in training this week, and that's just the way it goes, isn't it? So that's game week 1.
That wraps us up nicely. A lot of games to look forward to, obviously, next week, and plenty to disagree with us, as always. So if you're not in our FPL, you can still join our FPL league. You've got 1 week, and then we're cutting it off. All our details for that are on our Instagram page. But outside of that, like the video, comment, subscribe. You know the drill.
Here we go.